POM pepper spray, another tool in your self-defense toolbox. In today's video, we're taking a look at another tool for your self-defense toolbox, POM pepper spray. I'm not considering this a sponsored video since we're not being paid anything for it, but POM did send us a sample kit and asked if we'd be interested in checking it out. The crew and I thought it sounded like fun, so here we are. What is pepper spray? Pepper spray, also referred to as oleoresin, capsicum spray, OC spray, capsaicin spray, or mace, is a lacrimatory agent with the active ingredient being capsaicin. Capsaicin is the compound found in chili peppers that give them their spicy flavor. When used in pepper spray, it irritates the eyes, causing eye burning and pain, as well as discomfort and burning of the lungs. Pepper spray is often carried by law enforcement as a less lethal weapon. It is also used for riot and crowd control, as well as self-defense purposes. We will be focusing on the self-defense use of pepper spray in today's video. The two most common types of pepper spray sold in cans designed for self-defense purposes are pepper spray and pepper gel. We will be testing both in today's video. Traditional pepper spray is an aerosolized spray that disperses in a cone pattern. Pepper gel is the thicker, more viscous, stickier cousin of pepper spray. It was invented originally by the Mace brand as an alternative to aerosol pepper spray and is designed to be more wind resistant and have a greater stream distance. There are also pepper ball guns. Think a paintball marker firing gel balls filled with pepper spray instead of marking paint. We won't be discussing pepper ball guns in today's video. Not counting bear spray, the pepper spray and gel canisters typically find on store shelves sold for self-defense purposes came in around two sizes. What we'll call the small size that contains around a half ounce of liquid, and what we're going to call the large size that contains around 2 ounces of liquid. The smaller cans of spray typically have 10 to 12 seconds of spray, with a spray distance in that 10 feet range. With pepper gel in the small can, the duration may increase to around 17 seconds and a distance of around 12 feet. The larger cans of both pepper spray and pepper gel both typically have around 9 seconds of spray, with a spray distance in that 18 feet range. They dispense a larger volume of product, so while they don't get the same spray duration as a small can, you do have a much better spray distance on your side. So how hot is pepper spray? Well, that's a little trickier question to answer. The potency of pepper spray and pepper gel is usually measured in the amount of major capsaicinoids present. The higher the percentage of major capsaicinoids, the more potent the product is. Most name brand pepper spray and gel has anywhere between 0.2 and 2% major capsaicinoids. A more fun but less accurate way to measure the potency of pepper spray is using Scoville heat units. The POM spray we're using in today's video advertises 2.2 million Scoville heat units. For the epicurious out there, 2.2 million Scoville heat units would put this pepper spray at number 9 out of 10 on the Hot Ones lineup. The hottest hot sauce on that current Hot Ones lineup, the Last Dab Experience, is around 2.69 Scoville units as far as its heat rating. Before we dive into how to use pepper spray, we first need to mention a very important aspect of it. When used for self-defense purpose, pepper spray is something that helps you escape a dangerous situation. Escaping is the end game. This is very different than having a firearm for self-defense. Shooting at someone in the leg or the hand, that only happens in the movies. In real life, if a firearm is used for self-defense, lethal consequences come out the barrel with the potential to end threat in milliseconds. With pepper spray, your aim is to escape that threat. Just like with firearms, the use and purchase of pepper spray is likely regulated by local and state laws where you live. So first, make sure you're familiar with those laws if you're going to carry pepper spray or pepper gel. When using pepper spray and pepper gel, you want to aim for the eyes and sweep back and forth from ear to ear, trying to cover as much of the eyes and nose as you can in a short period of time. after the ear-to-ear sweep, escape the situation with great haste. Now that we have a better idea of what pepper spray is and how to use it, let's put some small and large bottles of pepper spray and pepper gel to the test. You're about to see tests done across 3 different days. We're going to test the accuracy, distance, duration, and the presence of UV dye of POM pepper spray and their major competitor, at least where I live. Let's do a quick test now with the real thing. You'll notice I have some safety goggles on, hopefully to keep my eyes if we do get some blowback from getting the pepper spray effect. Our target that we are going to be aiming at, we have a paper plate with some eyes stuck to it. And what we're hoping for here is that from 10 feet away, I can put a hit in the eye region of our target. Hopefully I can get this on our side view camera here. Here we go. Okay, I would say we're low of the eyeballs. I don't want to exhaust this cartridge because I want to give the crew a chance to take some shots with it. But we can see here on our paper plate, let me get a picture of this in case it dries. I was a little bit low left, but on the paper plate to where I'm going to speculate someone at least feels the burn. For comparison's sake, I put up a fresh googly eyes target, and we're going to use a competitor's product. I believe this is just straight pepper spray, not pepper gel, though I do also have pepper gel that we're going to test today. Let's see if I can put a hit in the googly eyes with the competitor's product. Here we go. Ooh. Okay, let's leave a little bit so that way the crew gets a chance. I would say, we'll say more of the stream on the target. I think I have one more googly eyes target. I definitely got some on the googly eyes. I can see it. One difference I noticed right off the bat using the competitor's product is visible on our white plate. It had an orangish tint to the pepper spray on impact. You could also see the stream in the air. Hopefully that shows up on the camera. Cross your fingers. We're now going to do that same competitor's gel pepper spray or gel spray. Gel stream. That sounds like a gel stream product, and see if I can hit the googly eyes on our target. Here we go. Okay. Leave a little for the crew. Get a picture here. Much more of this product landed on our target. Clearly impacts on the googly eyeballs. Get one more picture here. It's not quite as orange tinted as the spray, though it definitely has a yellowish hue to it. And it might be slightly thicker in consistency, which would make sense being gel. It has sort of a... Uh-oh, someone's driving up. Is it their doggy? Hopefully they stay out of the danger zone. Okay, our fourth and final target. Here we go. Hopefully this farmer stays out the way. Okay, this one is going to be the POM Mark III professional grade product. Here we go. I would say you get a much more vigorous stream with the big can. It too has the yellow stream. Pretty much hose down the plate. You can see the product dripping off the plate. We'll show you here. Certainly the best of the bunch that we tested so far today. All right. That one smells hot. You can smell it. The previous one using the gel spray had almost a sweet aroma to it. This one, it smells hot. We're doing what may be our final test of this POM pepper spray here. We tested this about a week ago. We just sort of grazed the target. I went back and I checked to see if any of the UV dye made it onto that plate. And while there was some obvious impact when looking at the plate under a UV light, no UV glow action, which to me suggests that there was no UV dye in the small amount that hit our target. So I'm basically going to exhaust this canister, aiming at our googly eye target over here. And we're then going to look at it in the dark under a black light and see if we can actually see that UV action. So here we go. Let me set the camera down and we'll test this out. All right, here we go. I shouldn't have to shake it up, but I shook it up just in case. Okay, and it's exhausted. Okay, and it's exhausted. Doesn't smell nearly as strong as the Mark III version. We can see I did at least get some good impact on our target. You can almost see it dripping off the googly eyes that we set up. So we'll take this target home. We'll go in the dark. I'll hit it with my UV flashlight, and we'll see if it glows better than when we just sort of put a faint hit on the target. So cross your fingers, and I'll see you shortly. We have one final test that we're going to do with our POM pepper spray. I'm going to use the Mark III pepper spray, and we have our googly eye target set up at 15 feet. The can says this should have an accurate aim up to 18 feet. And what we're going to do is we're going to compare the POM Mark III pepper spray to their competitor's same size bottle of pepper gel. And we'll see which one, if any, puts, we'll say, a better hit on our target. I'll just do a short burst, won't just empty the can. This is about, I don't know, maybe a half full can. We used it previously. So we'll see if we can get a good hit at 15 feet on our googly eye target. I'll replace the target and we'll repeat that with the competitor's pepper gel. Here we go. This running. POM pepper spray test, 15 feet. Here we go. Okay, we basically exhausted the can on that. Though as you can see, the pepper spray is dripping off of the plate. We essentially coated the entire plate. Nice. All right, this is with the competitor's pepper gel. Same thing, 15 feet. Let's see if we can put some hits on the googly eyeballs. And then once we're done, we get back home, we'll check them in the dark to see which one or if both show the UV dye. Here we go. Okay, I would say the pepper gel, got some on us. Okay, the pepper gel, even though it says it will go 18 feet, it did not make it 18 feet very well. I had to aim up quite a bit. It's a much oranger, don't touch your face. A much oranger colored product. And hopefully in our point of view cam, you'll be able to see that I was having to aim up quite a bit to hit this plate with the pepper gel. It too smells hot. A different type of pungent chili aroma. Though I would say we certainly did not coat the plate nearly with as much of the product as we did with the partial can of the POM pepper spray. Interesting. I got this on all over my hand. For the second half talking part of today's video, we might as well begin with the item we retested a couple times across those 3 days, the UV dye. The UV or ultraviolet dye is included as a way to help law enforcement identify who was sprayed. The dye should glow under a black light, similar to how white clothing or ultraviolet paint glow under a black light. For the small cans of spray and gel from the competitor, both of which I've had for some time and don't recall having UV dye listed on the packaging, well, I'm not 100% on that, but either way, neither of those two showed any evidence of UV dye under our black light, both fluorescent and LED. For our POM pepper spray from the small can, as you saw from the day 2 footage, I saw no evidence of UV dye on day 1. For the large can on day 1, we got very clear evidence of UV dye, as you can see from this picture. On day 3, we tested the large cans of pepper spray versus pepper gel. The pepper gel tested was a brand new can I had purchased from a local farm supply store just before filming. The packaging noted it should have UV dye, just like the packaging from our POM spray. Day 3 is where things got interesting on the UV dye front. From both the POM and the competitor product, where both had very good hits on our target plates and googly eyes, neither one showed any UV dye reaction when I got home and checked them later under both the LED and fluorescent black lights. We know from our day 1 test that the large POM can had UV dye in it before, but from that same can on a different day, nada. So what gives? I've come up with, to me, what sounds like a believable hypothesis for that no UV dye reaction on day 3. That also might explain the lack of dye from the small can of POM on day 1. Separation. If you flash back to the day 1 POM test, you can see that the stream from the can was very clear or translucent. You may also notice in that footage that I missed with pretty much all the spray I used that day. On day 2, where I had used the second half of the can, while you can't see the spray, what I sprayed on day 2 from that can had a more yellow tint to it. The hit on our plate was also more yellow colored as well. And still, on day 2, with the latter half of the can, no UV dye reaction. The day 3 test, we used the large cans of gel spray and regular spray. My first attempt went well below our target, and I eventually had to aim much higher to get the product on our target. By that point, I'd already used up at least half the can. When using the larger can of POM spray that I had previously used half of, While I had no problem easily hitting the target that day, the first half of that can had already been used. My hypothesis is that when left sitting, the solutions in these cans separates and the UV dye floats to the top, where it is expelled in the first shots of the can. By the time you get to the bottom half of the can, none is left. While not an apples to apples picture, if you look at these two bottles from my Hot Ones hot sauce collection, you'll notice separation has occurred. When shook up, the hot sauce looks like a homogeneous mixture, but over time it separates into a heterogeneous mixture with the UV dye floating to the top if it were pepper spray. I suspect that is what happened with our pepper spray and pepper gel bottles. This would explain from the small bottles seeing the translucent solution on day one, where by the time I hit the target, I could have used up all the dye, as well as why we saw no dye from the latter half of both our large bottles of spray and gel. Let us know in the comments if you think this is a sound theory or if you have a better explanation. We obviously had dye in our large bottle of dye day one, but not day three. As far as accuracy goes, things again get a little interesting. For the small bottles of spray versus gel, I would rate the gel more accurate compared to the spray. It might have had slightly better distance as well. For the big bottles, I would rate the spray as being much more accurate compared to the gel. And where it gets interesting is with the gel supposedly being less wind reactive, in the footage we got, I would say if anything, the larger bottle, it was more reactive. It also had noticeably less distance potential compared to the spray. With the spray, I didn't have to aim up, though I did have to aim slightly to the side of the target to account for wind. With the gel, I had to aim to the side of the target as well above it to hit that target. And that was at 15 feet, not 18, as stated on the packaging. For duration of spray, I would say that the small bottles of gel and spray both matched what was printed on their boxes. The small can of POM spray lasted in that 10 to 12 second range, while the small bottle of the competitor gel had a noticeably longer duration in that 17-second range. For the large bottles, the POM Mark III had better than 9 seconds of spray that was advertised on the box. It might even be in that 12-second range. The large bottle of gel, on the other hand, while it advertised 9 seconds, it was more like 7 seconds. Being both under on distance and duration made that competitor gel test quite disappointing. When it comes to price, the gel might get $1 or $2 more expensive in general, but they're fairly close in price. Small bottles of spray go for around $13, while the large bottles are in that $16 ballpark. Add $1 or $2 for the gel, and both are still safely in the sub $20 range, and close enough to each other where I don't think price alone is a factor in which you buy. In general, pepper spray is easier to use and cheaper to get compared to a firearm, while requiring much less training to successfully use. It's easily replaceable, less lethal, and very easy to carry. In most places, you can even open carry it without causing a panic. On the downside, pepper spray is affected by weather. When used indoors, it can contaminate air and surfaces it comes in contact with. It might take meaningful seconds for the effects to be felt, and unfortunately, it might not stop or even slow down a determined attacker. Pepper gel has many of the same advantages as pepper spray. Add in that it's typically less affected by wind, but not always, as we saw here today. It has a tighter spray pattern that lends itself to less cross-contamination compared to spray. It's harder to wipe off, but it too has some downsides. Because of that tighter pattern, accuracy matters more. You need to be on target and are less likely to hit multiple targets in one shot. While that's nice for less cross-contamination, that is not the case when you need to hit multiple targets rapidly. Because it is not aerosolized, things like glasses could protect the target's eyes, and it's less likely to be inhaled. It might also take longer to feel the effects. It's also a little more expensive. The big question left after all these tests is, which would I buy and keep in my self-defense toolbox? For me, the clear winner in today's video is the large can of POM spray. It had the best distance, very good spray duration. Because the stream was easy to see, it was easiest to get on target, and we at least got a UV dye reaction for part of it. If I was going to carry a small can, I'd probably go with a smaller can of gel. Because the spray was so orange, it was easier to see, giving it better accuracy, and it had the better spray duration. Do you keep pepper spray or pepper gel in your self-defense toolbox? Let us know in the comments which and why. Other than a firearm, is there something else you keep in that same toolbox? Let us know what, and again why, in the comments. Well, anyway, that seems like the perfect spot to end today's video. If you enjoyed today's presentation, like the video, share it with your friends and family. Those things are free, and they really help the channel greatly. If you'd like to help us make more of these videos in the future, look into becoming a member. Fred and I really appreciate you getting this far. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a nice night. Okay, I would say the